Well, welcome to the Foxstone Financial Wealth Matters Show. I'm Christian Ravsten, CEO of Foxstone Financial, and I am very happy to have a guest with me again today. The show's about bringing guests and bringing people to the show that have an impact on people's lives and an impact on their wealth. And so today I am very, very happy to have a friend of mine, Karina. Thank you for being here with us.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Well, I will let you do the introductions because it's silly for me to be like, oh, and this is the person, and here's their introduction, and just read like a formal statement. I think that is so boring and canned. So with that being said, this is the Foxstone Financial Wealth Matters Show. Very happy to have you on. And I firmly believe that you have an opportunity and you do affect people's wealth. And wealth matters to us and to all of our people listening and our clients. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, thank you, Christian.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in real estate.
Okay.
And my passion is real estate development.
Yeah.
That's actually how I got into it. When I was 5 years old, all my neighbor friends were drawing little families and stick figures.
Yeah.
I was drawing floor plans.
Of course.
So,
yeah.
it's been a passion of mine for my whole life. And about 10 years ago, I had an opportunity to create my first real estate development project. That was a condo project in Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And
by the way, if people are wondering, you are not from Montana.
No, not even southern Montana. I'm from Munich, Germany. So
right.
You'll hear a little accent.
A little bit of an accent.
Exactly.
But that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
From Germany.
Yes.
Developing opportunities in Montana.
Yes.
Very storied background. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. There's a long story. We need 3 hours for that. But really, that's how I got into residential real estate and started, like I said, a development project there. And moved here in 2012 and thought, I want to do this here in Denver, Colorado. And at the time, it just wasn't conducive to it. There was a construction defect law in effect, and there was no development really available because if you developed something, you had 100% chance of getting sued with a class action lawsuit. So for the last 7 years, I built a residential real estate team. Mm-hmm. We focused on condos downtown and luxury homes. And then about a year and a half ago, we saw that the legislator had amended some of the laws to make it a little bit friendlier to developers to be able to come out and develop condos again. And I think people here in Denver have seen a little bit more action. We have a couple of projects going on. A larger project just finished at Colorado. And so developers are dipping their toes into the market. And I felt it was the right time to start my passion up again and saw a big need for attainable housing here downtown where all you can do is rent and you can't buy anything. So that's the short story.
That is a short story. So, this has absolutely been a passion project for you.
Yes.
Right? You say a year and a half, but this has been much longer in the works than that, I feel like.
Yes. I'm growing up in Germany. 70% of people in Germany cannot afford to buy anything. We rent. Only 30% in Germany actually own property. And that has to do, number one, with what's available, but also how expensive it is. And so coming to the States, I was very passionate about being able to buy something and being able to own. And, we've talked about this before. Being able to own your own home is the first step to building wealth. Right?
Yep.
People that rent have on average net worth of about $9,800. People that own, it's $98,000, right? Mm-hmm. Big difference. And so if we don't have entry-level housing that people can buy, there's a whole generation of people that cannot afford and won't have any net wealth as they're growing up, as they're getting older, and cannot, trade their equity for another bigger home. And, and that is the biggest wealth builder for most people.
Well, and it's kind of the basis of the economy, right? Moving up and being able to have the flexibility to move either laterally or up or down, and to not have that opportunity is frustrating. So you are providing that opportunity to folks. And when people think about living downtown, me in particular, you think of, I can't afford it.
Right.
It's way too expensive.
Exactly.
Right. And when you and I were very first talking about this, probably a year and a half ago, I thought, well, that's it's out of, most people's price range.
Right.
And you corrected me.
Yes.
Because what's very unique about this property is that it is attainable housing.
Mm-hmm. And we really very specifically, I started my development company with that specific purpose of building products that can be bought with an FHA loan. And for those people that are not familiar with that,
what does that mean?
It allows you to buy a property with only 3.5% down, which, that is huge. And most people have enough salary that they can afford the monthly payments, but they haven't saved a down payment that they need. So the FHA loan, which is a government-backed loan, it has a limit. You can only borrow, right now it goes up to $575,000. So our products, 90% of our products are priced between $350 and $575 with that specific purpose in mind, so that people can afford to buy them.
And in the downtown area.
In the downtown area. Yes.
That's phenomenal.
Yes. Because really, the greater idea is that, we have to talk sustainability, right? Mm-hmm. And I am very passionate about that. In Germany, we started talking about that in the 70s. And I grew up in a little town where the whole town was heated by natural hot springs. Wow. And so we have been, in the forefront of being sustainable. And coming here, we had so many resources and gas was cheap. And so, we didn't have to think about it that much. But as more and more people are moving here and the traffic is getting worse and worse, right?
Oh, don't even talk about traffic.
Right?
Unbelievable.
Yes.
The worst.
It is the worst. So being able to walk to work or take a bike to work is going to be huge for people. And who we see that's moving here to Denver, they're moving here because they want to be outdoors, right? And they don't want to spend 2 hours in their car every day. So the challenge is, how do we provide housing that's close to where you work? And that's density. And so density means high rises, and it means, smaller units that you can afford. But then guess what? You don't have to spend, $200 on gas. You can walk to work. So this is sort of where my thinking started on this.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. I mean, it really is amazing. And as I said, it has been a passion project for you. And it's not been easy.
No.
Not been easy at all. But you feel like there's going to be a huge benefit to the Denver community because of this.
I think we're changing the perception of what is possible. Construction costs are what they are, right? I cannot change construction costs. What we can change is sort of the expectation of how big your space has to be, right? Coming from Europe, we grew up in very small, compact spaces that worked great. I mean, I'm not talking micro units where you have, a studio or less than 300 square feet. I'm talking about a 2-bedroom, 2-bath that has everything you would want, but that is 750 square feet.
That's crazy.
Right?
That is insane to think that you can put 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, have a kitchen, have a functional space in 750 square feet, because that just doesn't ring a bell to me. I mean, I lived in college. My wife and I, when we were very first married, we had a 600 square foot apartment, and it had 1 bedroom, 1 bath, a tiny little kitchen, and a little family room, living room, I guess that you'd call it, and a little teeny balcony, but it was not usable at all. And as soon as, 1 or 2 other people came over, it was like...
Exactly.
Right. You had to sleep on the couch, and it was so tight because we only had 1 bathroom.
Yes.
So the fact that you're able to do, bring that European influence, that's pretty amazing.
Yes. And that's really where we started talking. I started talking to some local architects, and when I started talking about compact spaces, they were like, "Oh, you mean 1,000 square feet?" And I said, "No, not quite. That's not going to get us there, because if you think about construction costs being what they are and what you're having to sell them for, at 1,000 square feet, you would have to sell these units for $700,000 to $800,000. It's not going to work."
Which then goes back to my point: most people aren't going to be able to afford that.
That's exactly it.
Right? They're not going to get FHA loans, and then again, that whole thought of, if I live in downtown, I got to have a ton of money. And then that brings you back to the same point. $800,000, you got to put 20% down. I mean, you're talking about $160,000 to $180,000 you got to put down.
Who has that, right? I mean, there is that market, but that's not the market that we're shooting for.
That's not what you're shooting for.
No, exactly.
That's your
different.
That's your residential real estate market.
That's my residential real estate market. That's exactly cash buyers, all of that.
Right.
But on our market really, and our focus is the people that are currently living downtown that are spending $2,500 a month on a one bedroom, right? And rent. Yes. And for them to be able to buy something, have to move out of town, either commute or take the light rail. And those are the people that we've really been wanting to serve. If you've traveled to Europe and you've seen how people live in Europe, it is just so much more compact. This is not a new concept. It's new for us. It's not new in New York or San Francisco, but it's new for Denver, right? We've had so much space and we've had the opportunity to build larger spaces, but that is not how it's going to be in the future if we want to have a sustainable city. So
you had talked about speaking to local architects, right? And I'm sure that was a little bit of a kind of bang your head on the wall moment where you're like, they just don't get it.
Yeah.
So how did you end up finding the right architect for the plans that you wanted?
That's a great question. And I'm not banging the local architects because they're all super creative and,
I'm banging them. I don't even know them. I have no idea who they are. I'm sure they're great.
Of them. They're all great.
Yeah, no.
But they just didn't... they just didn't know that organically. So we were introduced to actually a Spanish architect. A friend of mine had watched them on another project in Mexico and said, hey, take a look at their website. And we looked at their website and it was amazing. They build that kind of product all over the world. So they're building compact condos in India. They're doing a project in Cancun, Mexico right now. They're actually doing a smaller project here in Denver. And they happen to be connected with a large architecture firm here in Denver called Oz. One of the principals had met that architect at a architecture show, and they've been wanting to do projects together. And so we called them up and said, this is what we're wanting to do. And they came down here to Denver, looked around and go, oh my God, this is the perfect opportunity for us. We really want to work with you here. They have also just won a worldwide sustainability award. So their thinking is already part of their DNA, is being efficient, being sustainable. So we didn't have to explain to them, how this is going to look. They came to us and said, this is what we can do. So it's the European thinking with a very sustainable approach.
Yeah.
And we're working in conjunction with a local architect so that they're here and they know the local, how the permitting goes and so forth. So
listen, we love Colorado people and working with Colorado businesses.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
It's nice to give back to the people here.
Yes,
right.
And we have a lot of talent here in town, which is really amazing, right? But so this has been an opportunity that both the architects and we are actually excited about because it's going to be a very unique product, unlike anything that Denver has seen.
Yeah. Well, and you actually brought a video. And so is it okay if I show it?
Sure, absolutely.
I would like to show this because the first time that you showed it to me, it was like, I've never seen anything like this. So truth be told, I've never traveled to Europe. Okay. I know.
Christian, we're going to have to talk about that.
I know. Listen, I've been to South America. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been to the Caribbean a lot, and that's just kind of where my
interest lie.
Got it. The warm beaches, which I know Europe has. Anyways, but when I saw this, very different than anything that I've ever seen, anything here in Colorado. It's, I've spent a majority of my time here in the Mountain West region, so I've never seen anything like this, and I can just see that this is a huge opportunity all over.
All over. It really is. And what we're excited about is that...
look at that.
It's pretty sexy.
That is a good-looking building. And that's going to be the view?
Yeah, those are the views. We are in an up-and-coming neighborhood in Denver.
Look how pretty that is.
Yeah, it's...
And most people will think, sustainable housing or attainable housing, it's going to be ugly, it's going to be run down. But that's the exact opposite. Look how beautiful that is.
And this has been my soapbox for so many years. Design doesn't have to mean it's more expensive, right? Mm-hmm. Good design.
Well, don't tell Gucci that.
Well, it ends up...
Or Louis Vuitton.
That's exactly it. But how much great design is there when you look at... So I grew up in the town that had the first IKEA outside Sweden.
No way.
Yes.
Are you serious?
My little town. So when I was 13, we had an IKEA. And I have been...
Did it make bad furniture back then too?
It was all made from crates. Literally from crates and from these, wooden crates and So good design for me from an early age on didn't have to be expensive.
Yeah.
Right. And this is what these architects are doing.
Yeah.
What's fascinating about it is when you actually look at the building, it's a very square building on the inside. And where the sex appeal comes in is on the outside, on the exterior. And so the costs are not, they're incrementally slightly more, but not what you would think. So design does not have to be more expensive. It just takes a little bit more thought. Yeah. And that's what I loved about, when they came up. Literally, when they sent me this, I just got it about a week ago. I was in tears. I had never seen anything so beautiful.
It looks amazing. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, the lines, the glass. They also did a solar study, really took into account what are the exposures going to be? What are we going to be looking into? How are we going to be using the spaces? Small spaces are very difficult to design efficiently, right? So that you don't feel like it's a small space. What we wanted was that you had a 750 square foot 2-bedroom, but you walked in and it felt like it was 1,200 square feet or 1,300 square feet.
Well, and that's what I wanted to point out. I'm bringing this video back up, and it'll roll through here. The video of the interior looks very modern, very beautiful, but open and usable.
Open and usable. And flex spaces, right?
Yeah.
You saw the sliding door. So the idea is
look at this.
That's a 1-bedroom. So,
but you're looking at it and... I would not look at that and say, there's no way I could live there.
Right?
That's definitely a usable, very pretty space. And, obviously it's decorated nicely, but still the point is very usable, open space.
Yeah. Bright and airy.
And you're not paying out the nose for it.
You're not paying out the nose for it. That 1-bedrooms are going to start in the $365 range. So
that's phenomenal.
Yes, it's really exciting. And it's a full amenity building so that, you'll have your fitness center and your pool and your, parking and all of those amenities in the building. And you can walk to downtown. Yeah.
Are you thinking about, I know lately, especially up here in the DTC, a lot of the office buildings below have restaurants, bars, will this have something similar, or will it be close enough that you're just focused on living, parking, or will there be restaurants, things of that nature, where people don't literally have to leave the building?
That's really the thought, right? And beyond that, what I'm also really concerned about is how do we affect the neighborhood that we're building this property in, right? It's not just about plopping a building on a lot. How are we affecting the neighboring buildings? How are we affecting the neighborhood? What is needed in the neighborhood? That area happens to be a food desert. There is no...
Really?
Yeah. There's a Safeway about 9 blocks away, and there's the new Whole Foods about 10 blocks away. But if you needed to grab some milk or some salad or yogurt, whatever, there's nothing there. So one of our thoughts are to bring a little bodega style, little mini supermarket, European style, right? You have them in New York on every corner.
Yep.
Small, maybe a little salad bar.
Yep.
So we're looking at what's needed in the neighborhood in addition to what our potential buyers would like, so that we can really serve the neighborhood. So that's one of the ideas, is bringing in a bodega, a supermarket, maybe a small coffee shop on the corner, and really reaching out to the neighbors and saying, hey, what would you like to see here?
That's cool.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Well, so my time, I spent 2 years in Ecuador.
Oh.
And so when I said I went to South America, and I did live 2 years in Ecuador, and you are right. Every little corner has what they call little tiendas.
Okay.
Right? And a little tienda is a little teeny store that, somebody owns, and they live basically on the other side of the tienda, but it's, they have all of the
basics, right?
The basics that you need. Plus, it may have a bakery next to it.
Yes.
So you go get your bread, you can get your milk, you can get your eggs, you can get dishwasher soap, even though they don't have dishwashers. But the point is, you can get all of that there. Now, if you need to go big time grocery shopping, you get on a bus, and you go to the grocery store.
Exactly.
Right? Or you go to, wherever it is. But those little tiendas,
yes,
they're all over the place.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yes, exactly. And that also keeps people from having to drive, right? We were just in Paris in the fall, and that's why I really got inspired about, re-inspired about how you can live in small, compact places and how people actually use spaces, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have kitchens. They might have a little hot plate, right? A very small refrigerator. They go shopping every day. So they go around the front door, go to the bakery, go to the butcher, go to the little bodega, and that's their daily shopping. They go daily. And then they cook whatever they have or they go out. And that's sort of the idea of what we're after, is that you need to look at how people anymore use spaces, right? It is rare that people cook at home. I mean, I live downtown. We go out 3 times a week, right? I have a huge kitchen in my condo. I don't need it. We go out 3 times a week. So why have large kitchens, right? Have enough that you can make yourself coffee, breakfast, whatever you need to do. But then you're in a neighborhood within 3 blocks. We're within the Lodo area. So you can walk to all the bars and restaurants that are right outside Coors Field, or you can walk towards Uptown. I don't think we have been very good as developers to really think about how people use spaces. It's always about how many parking spaces versus condos, how many square foot. Nobody asks the question, how do people actually use the space?
Yeah.
And when you start asking those questions, the design becomes easy, but it also becomes a little different, right? Because it's not anymore the same. We've changed. And urban living is very different from suburban living.
Vastly different.
Right?
And then what it's taking your European flair, right? And your upbringing to really bring a potential, a needed change here in Denver.
Yeah.
That people are looking for.
Yes. And that's really what I'm excited about. And this is one of hopefully many projects. We are working on some smaller projects as well. But the focus is really on the metropolitan circle where people can walk or take a bike to the downtown area. The light rail is 2 blocks from that.
Where is this location exactly?
So this is in North Arapahoe Square, which nobody knows what the heck it is.
Yeah.
It's basically east of Coors Field. And north of downtown.
Right. So I drove right past it.
Yes, exactly.
Because I was just in Rhino, so I drove right past it without even knowing it.
Yeah, it's sort of a desert right now. I mean, they've built a couple of huge apartment buildings, but the problem is we have an opportunity. This neighborhood is mostly parking areas right now, parking lots. It used to be a historic neighborhood, but that's completely gotten lost. There's no personality to it. It doesn't even have a name. I mean, North Arapahoe Square, right? That nobody's going to call it that. So we have an opportunity to make a mark and really put it on the map.
So when are you hoping to start, breaking ground?
So right now, our schedule is to break ground in the fall of next year.
Awesome.
We are just in the, as we were talking about, and capital raising stages, and
So that's the next hurdle.
That's the next hurdle, absolutely. Okay. And we've just started sending our investment packages out to different groups, and so Are
they being received warmly?
We have had the most clearly.
Right.
That video is amazing.
Right.
And the product is incredible. And people have all over, actually, the U.S. are understanding the unique situation that Denver is in right now. We have had no condo construction to speak of in 10 years. And we are one of the top cities that people are moving to.
I know.
In sort of that demographic that wants to buy condos. So this is a very unique opportunity here that we have today. And so we have had tons of interest from the coasts where they're going, wow, the West Coast are sort of flatlined, where nothing's moving there. They're looking at us going, oh my God, this is like a blank slate. No one is doing anything here. So we've had some great responses already, and, we'll just see how this plays out here in the next couple of months. So
that's awesome.
Yes.
So basically what you're saying is the next hurdle is capital raising. So if anybody has any questions or potentially if you're listening, you're watching, and you're drooling over this amazing opportunity, which you should be, how do they reach out? How do they get a hold of you?
Well, I'm sure, are we going to have some information on them? That would be great. Feel free to reach out to me directly, and I will put you in touch with your team. My team that does the capital raising, and they can talk in depth about all the spreadsheets and what it entails. And
which is not.
That's not
what you do.
That's not my virtue.
The nice thing about being a owner and a CEO is you can hire the right people to fill those right niches in your team, so you don't have to be the jack of all trades.
That's it. And I've been really lucky. I've put together an amazing team of people that all have incredible amount of experience in doing large-scale projects, and they're all passionate about doing exactly what we're doing.
Right.
And so it's been a lot of fun.
I mean, that putting the right people in the right places started in your residential space.
Exactly.
I mean, so this is not new to you.
No, building teams around projects is not new to me.
I mean, you did it in Montana.
Yes, exactly.
And you're also adding something else to your resume. A food critic. I mean, if you're going out 3 times a week, Karina, you could set up a whole Karina's Yelp.
I could. I do.
Right?
That's true. You'll probably see my posts once in a while on Yelp because I tend to want to help restaurants. Being a small business owner is tough. Being an entrepreneur is tough, right?
Right.
So I want to support that kind of, endeavor because we know how hard it is. So
I love Yelp. Right.
Yes.
And I'm constantly looking for great places to go, but I might as well just skip having to read through all the reviews and just text you.
Hey,
Karina, I'm thinking about going here.
If you're downtown, you let me know. I usually, we try out something new pretty much every week.
I heard that there was a really good Mexican restaurant. I was having a meeting with a guy, and he was telling me there's a really good Mexican restaurant right downtown, like off Market Street. I can't remember what. Anyways, separate topic.
Yeah, there are several actually, but they're all, food is not a problem in Denver. We got
some good food.
We are turning into a foodie town, which is thank God, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I live in Castle Rock and it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
We always drive out of Castle Rock. I mean, it's starting to develop a little bit.
Yes.
But you're right. There's some really, really good, amazing restaurants.
Yes.
Cherry Creek. I mean, all over.
Yes.
Tech Center.
Yes.
Aurora.
Yes.
Lone Tree, downtown Denver, all over the place. But that's a separate discussion.
That's a whole different podcast.
That's a whole different one. We could talk about food forever because I love that.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I'm really excited about this. So again, if you want to get a hold of Karina, you think that you could help. Again, you said the next hurdle is the capital raising.
It's always, right? That's just how it goes. And then after that, we have everything in place to move forward. Our architects are working on the initial city approvals and so forth, and that's going to be happening here in the next month. And it's exciting.
That is exciting. Well, I am excited to have you here. Obviously, this is definitely going to impact people's wealth because just like you said, people that rent have less than $10,000 in net worth, but people that own, that's multiplied by a factor of 10.
10.
That's phenomenal.
Yes.
And you're giving people the opportunity to live the way they want, where they want, and sustainable housing. So that's phenomenal. Congratulations, by the way. I know I've told you I'm very, very happy for you.
Thank you.
This is very much a passion project, and I am so excited to celebrate when it's all done.
Yes, big party.
Yeah.
And thank you for your support. I really appreciate that. It's been quite a journey, and this is really only the beginning. So.
It is. But it's been. I mean, like I said, I've known you for a while, and it's to get to this point.
Yes.
To see the actual video and the drawings has been.
For me, that was really, as you can, as you imagine. I mean, you've done the same thing within your company, right? As you're coming up with a new vision for your company. You have it in your head,
right?
But when finally people can actually interpret it and put it in a video, and now you can say, "This is my vision," which is, by the way, way better than what I had in my head.
Right.
It makes it real.
Yep.
It's now real, and that's what is exciting.
So exciting.
Yes.
Well, again, thank you for coming. Very, very happy to have you on, and I will have you on again because, again, as we get closer, we can now. The next hurdle won't be capital raising. It'll be, we've got these spaces, right? These are this is what they look like. Here's the building. I mean, and so the conversation will be very different.
Very different.
So I'm excited to have you on again on the show and talk about the progress and see where you're at and what your next project will be after that.
That's great. I would love that.
Perfect. Well, again, this has been the Foxstone Financial Wealth Matters Show. It's been an honor to have you, Karina. Thank you for coming on. And again, if you want to get a hold of Karina for help, support, you're interested in the project, or someone that could help, please reach out to her. And again, she's absolutely going to be impacting people's lives in a very positive manner and bringing something very creative and unique to Denver, which we have needed for a while. So again, thank you very much, and look forward to having you again.
Great. Thanks for having me, Christian.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.